Together we're navigating, one step each.
Hello. Welcome, everybody. I'm going to give it a chance for everybody to get in. I see people like just popping in. So, if you would bear with us, just give me a chance to let everybody pop into the call. We'll get started in about 3 minutes. In the meantime, while we are waiting for people to get in, one of the main things that I want to do is take time to celebrate everybody. If you were on the call last week, I'd like to say welcome back, crew. If you are not, then welcome aboard. One of the things we talked about last week was protecting your peace, and we looked at a story that I told you guys from my mentors uh, back in Williamsburg. It was a mentor I had, Miss May, and how she helped me realize I needed to protect my peace in a sense by coming over to my desk when I was working late, closing my laptop, and telling me to go take my kid for ice cream because I had done enough for the day. And because of that, we started last week our Wayfinder ice cream challenge. And for those of you who were not on the call, the ice cream challenge is not all about going to get ice cream. I mean, if you want to get ice cream every day, that's cool. But that's not what it's really about. It's about taking the time to authentically take care of yourself and prioritize you and your family. And that was our goal for the month of July, to authentically take those moments with our family, our kids, our friends, or just for ourselves. So I've been looking forward to tonight all week because I've been looking at the images that have come through in our school community, people that have texted me that aren't in the school community yet. And like I've seen people getting ice cream and water ice. And if you don't know what water ice is, you need to know. So find somebody. Seen people on beach trips. I took a beach trip with a couple of my teacher colleagues. I saw people doing walks and workouts, and somebody at some point, if I'm not mistaken, even texted me a picture showing me that they were about to take a nap. So kudos to all of you who are engaging in the ice cream challenge. And if you have not, please take this moment to enjoy your summer. Okay. Enjoy your summer. Protect your peace, protect who you are, because it's so important so that we can become like healthy, whole human beings before we go back into these classrooms. Um, the point of it all is to really help us as educators stop apologizing for having a life. I know we do that a lot, and I know we want to make sure that our kids are just everything to us. Our students are like our top priority. But within our community, like I want to just make sure we are making sure that we're becoming not just better teachers, but healthier people overall. So in this moment, if there is anybody who's taken some time this week to protect themselves, I want you to give me a thumbs up in the chat, a heart, a like. I don't care what it was that you did. If you did something to take care of you, make sure you put that in the chat because I want to celebrate it. All right. So last week, we're going to go ahead and get started. It's about 5:36. Last week, we talked about protecting your peace. Today, we're going to be talking about more so protecting your time and your future. The goal is because at the end of this, you want to be able to have the mindset that eventually someone shouldn't have to come to you and close your laptop, right? The point is that you should be able to have enough peace in yourself and enough confidence in yourself to close your laptop on your own. That's my goal for you guys tonight. So, I'm going to be like your teacher for the night in a sense, but it's going to be in open forum. I want to hear from y'all. I want to hear about what you're doing, what you're going through. And my question from you guys is, what did you protect this week? I know I had you put an emoji in the chat, but I'm going to encourage you to step onto the bow and talk tonight because we are a community. So if there anybody that wants to share what they protected this week, give me like raise your hand, come off mute and on your own. If you were here last week or not, I don't care.
I did. I
Yes. What
did.
did you do?
I have started to protect my health because I had let it go.
Mm.
So I started walking, and one thing that I do not like to do is drink water, and I have started doing that, and that protects my peace because it keeps the blood pressure down, it keeps the stress down. So I'm protecting myself mentally and physically.
I love that. I love that for you. I'm glad you started drinking water too. I need to
Thanks.
I need to do that. I'm not gonna talk about I've had this one bottle of water here literally all day. So we're not gonna talk about that though. Is there anybody else who wants to share?
Um,
Don't be shy.
I have been doing a new strategy for these classes that I have been taking for my degree. I should be getting in December. Yay. But for,
Congratulations.
thank you.
Yes, wait a minute, let us celebrate you, Constance. Everybody celebrate
Congratulations.
Constance.
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Thank you. But one of the big things that I've been struggling with my degree is like those big projects that they have you do for class, like the big thing at the end of the semester that you always wait for the last few weeks to do. I have learned that instead of thinking of it like this big project, you think of it as little action steps. And
Mm.
you do those steps a little bit at a time, and then it doesn't seem as daunting because you're just slowly making your progress through it. And it's just the key to it is just trying to be proactive about making sure you're doing the little steps. But one little step is a lot easier, I'm learning, as opposed to doing the all the steps all together at the end. And that way
Oh
you're
yeah.
really take your time.
And I'm gonna pick on you a little bit. That's just showing your Wayfinder crew profile. Do you remember
Mm.
what that was?
What was that? I have it saved here. Hold on. I had to screenshot it, of course. The deckhand, that's right.
Making those intentional moves. Yep,
Oh
you're
yeah,
definitely a deckhand of our crew. I love that. Thank you for sharing, Constance.
of course.
Is there anybody else who wants to share before we move on? I want to give that time. I don't want to take it from you. Yes, Anaya, go ahead.
Hi, Auntie. How are you?
Yay.
This week I would say, well, I guess like just being a new graduate and like I would say like baby teacher,
Mm.
you knowing how I am, I'm so eager to always, yeah, I got it. Yeah, let's learn. Yeah. It's good to just say, no, because
Right.
you gotta breathe and you need to take time to just sit out. So I guess just saying no. And it hurts, but it also feels good. But like that's what I'm learning.
I agree. And I think we've been working on that for a long time, Sanaya. Girl, you gotta give yourself some time, and it is definitely okay to say no. And for the sake of protecting your peace and protecting your time, we're gonna go ahead and get started because one of my mottos is there's no after school hours here at Wayfinder. So we're gonna make sure we end on time. We're gonna try to end at least by 6:30. So I love and I appreciate all of you who have shared, and I want that to keep going. There are going to be definitely minutes and times in this call where I'm going to ask for you to share your input, share your thought, and just why we're embarking along this journey together. And while I was preparing this presentation for you guys tonight, I kept thinking about my mentor, Miss May, and her telling me that those papers are going to be there tomorrow
Mm.
and that it's okay to leave some things unfinished until the next day. We don't have to take on everything. Like Sanaya said, even as a new teacher, you want to do your best. You want to take on everything, and it's okay to just say no sometimes. And if you've ever struggled with saying no, let me see something in the chat. Like, if it's one of your things, because most teachers struggle with it. If you've ever had struggles with just saying no, give me a thumbs up so I know I'm not the only one. And Sanaya is not the only one either. Absolutely. So I want you to think about, thanks, Tony, I see you. I want you to think about this. What if the systems that we create really didn't pigeonhole us and we didn't think about it as another task to do, if it really just gave us permission to really authentically engage with our students, be present and be there, and when needed, the permission to leave, the permission to just press pause and, like I said, start tomorrow, the next day. So that's what we're going to be looking at today as a team. All right. So I'm going to ask you a question, and it's going to be a real, raw, honest, sincere moment that I want you guys to think about. And I know it's going to ruffle some feathers because it's controversial. It's a controversial conversation within education right now. If passion was enough, why are so many passionate teachers leaving education?
I have an answer
Sure.
because I feel like there are so many teachers that are passionate about what they do, but they don't have the support from the school system
Mm.
that when they put all their all into the children, their work ethics and the bylaws of the school, when a situation arises or difficulties come, they do not have the support from the actual school system, faculty, or what have you. So they feel like the more they pour in, if they don't have any backing, then what's the use? Even though the kids are the ones that lose, they're the ones that missing out. Still, they have to protect their peace, their passion, their gift of teaching to go somewhere where they can be supported.
I 100% agree with that. And it seems like a lot of people in the chat are saying like there's not enough support. I think Sanaya said that. Follow gave a thumbs up. That's a common thread, and that's one of the things that I'm a real big stickler about is because whether you're new or have been in the game for 20 years, you still need support with something. Nobody knows it all. And I know that there are teachers walking around this world that make you think that they've got it all together. I promise you they don't. There's always something new, always something changing. So when we really look at this, I want you to understand that a lot of teachers aren't leaving because they're not leaving because like they stopped loving kids somewhere along the way, or they stopped caring, or they just don't have it all together. It's not like that. A lot, somebody else in the chat also mentioned it. They're sometimes just exhausted from everything that they have to do, like Miss Stacy said, and then on top of that, having to deal with the bylaws on the back end of what's happening in education. So the next question is how do we protect that, right? Because I don't want you to just be here to be inspired. I want you to leave with solutions and practical things that you can do along the way. So I need you to hear what I'm saying to you, that passion is great, it's beautiful, but it's not everything. It's why we became teachers, it's why we stayed late, it's why we will like cry over our favorite kid in the classroom. But at the end of the day, passion is a terrible scheduling system. Right? Look, you can't schedule around your passion, you can't organize your passion, and it doesn't reduce your burnout. So we have to be proactive in doing something about it with like good intentions. It keeps the classroom door open, but it doesn't help you stay inside it. And so that's my goal. And that's basically what our whole community is built around, is just making sure we're creating systems and having support so that we can encourage educators to stay in the classroom and keep supporting them along the way. So if you guys are ready to go along on this journey with me and learn and grow, give me some kind of reaction in the chat and we will move right along. Oh no, I was going to say, oh, nobody wants to go on a journey. I can end the Zoom right now. No, I'm just playing. I'm just playing. We're gonna keep moving. All right. This is an honest question with you, and I want you to keep it real. Well, as the youths say, keep it 100. Don't tell nobody I said that. It's it's just a thing. But yes, I want you to be keep it honest. How many hours have you worked and still left school or your job feeling behind? Go ahead. And I actually want you to answer this and put it in the chat because I want you to know that you're not alone. So would you say about 6 hours? And you still feel behind 8, 10, 12, or somewhere along the lines, you stop counting? Anybody? I want to see it rolling in. So 12? Constance. Seriously, does that mean you just stop counting? I see your upside down face. I see all of you. And this is what I want you to understand, that you are not alone. And I think that's the huge thing with education right now. We put ourselves in these silos and we think that it's just happening to us. And that's simply not true. It's simply not true. And I want in these Waypoint Weeklies, because they're more of an open forum, I want you to be able to see that you're not alone and there are other people out there going through the same thing. And when we come together, that's when we thrive. So, oh, I see you tonight. She said, as a student teacher, the whole time I had to be there because I was hungry. Sure, I know that's right, because you were hungry. A lot of us miss lunch, so that please don't feel like that's just you. So, I'm gonna share my honest moment with you because I know somewhere along the line I stopped counting. I remember, especially when I was working in Williamsburg, because I was new, about 5 years in, and I just wanted to get everything right. I remember working like 12-hour days and then coming home, and I'd finally sit in the car at my driveway, scarfing down that Chick-fil-A I didn't want to share with my kid. And instead of feeling like I had really accomplished something or done something at the end of this long 12-hour day, I felt guilty. And I felt guilty because I knew there was still more work to be done, and I was still bringing work home to grade. And I didn't really have a lot of help doing that. Now, I'm going to be honest, my sisters, they came around every once in a while and graded a few papers, but it wasn't like I was getting this whole overwhelming amount of support. So I still felt guilty at the end of the day because there was still more to be done. And then in that moment, I realized that something was up. Something had to change because the problem wasn't my work ethic. The problem was what my workflow and how I was prioritizing like tasks in my time. So I needed to adjust that. And that's when like a real true shift happened for me. And that's what I want to help you guys with, is learning how to prioritize self and family and then work, because that's what's going to sustain you in your career. Now, I want you to meet somebody. I want you to meet my sister Sierra. Now, this is not her real picture. It's like one of those paid actors that they talk about on Unsolved Mysteries. Y'all with me? You following me? Anybody ever seen that show? For the sake of protecting her peace, I didn't share her real picture. But Sierra is someone I admire. Yeah, she's my younger sister, but she accomplished so much ahead of me. So I always refer to her as like my little big sister. So in this moment, in this opportunity, I felt so grateful that I got to see her as a teacher. She loved like helping kids and helping people. She loved helping just in general. So being a teacher seemed like it would be right up her alley. Now, she worked harder than anybody I knew, and she really still does. She works so hard every day. But I can recall one afternoon, I walked into her classroom. Well, not into her classroom, really into her side of the classroom, because we were teaching in the open concept school. Um, and they were like papers everywhere. She had her sticky notes, her 10 to-do lists, because she can't live without them. She's still making 10 to-do lists. She had like 10 tabs open on her computer, her planner, her 2 cups of hot tea, because again, can't live without that. And in the corner somewhere, there was like a stack of papers that looked like it could qualify as classroom furniture, for real. And she looked at me, and before I could even say anything, she was just like, Nick, I don't know how y'all do this. I don't know how teachers do this every day. And she was starting to feel defeated. Now, again, like I said, she's my little big sister. So Sierra struggle with something? Nah, that didn't seem right to me. And the problem wasn't her effort because she was giving it 110%, 150 really. The problem was her systems. I realized she didn't have the systems in place to kind of work through all the teacher pieces, all the teacher classroom management sources, and everything she needed because she hadn't been through a full 4-year teacher program. She was a long-term sub that transitioned into a full-time fourth grade teacher. So that's new. That's a whole different ball game to navigate. But I want you to like see yourself in this moment and see yourself in this story because I'm sure that every one of you can relate in some facet. Like you've been doing your job and giving it your all, and somehow it just doesn't feel like it's enough. So if you can relate, tell me in the chat that you've been there. That's you. Send help because I'm still there. Let me know something. Um, because again, we want to remind each other that we're not alone in any of this. So in this moment, I know that this statement might break some teachers' hearts, but sticky notes are not a classroom management system. If it hurts your feelings, I'm sorry. If you don't like it, I'm sorry, but I said what I said. Sticky notes are not a classroom management system. I've met so many teachers whose classroom management system is a hope and a prayer or some kind of filing system that they don't use. And if your lesson plan is somewhere between a sticky note and your memory, we need to talk because you should have a little bit more planning than that. So here's a little life story for you. I remember walking in one morning and I felt ready. I had my coffee because I have to have coffee. I'm not at the time I was a coffee drinker, not a tea drinker. I had my coffee, my learning objectives that I hope my students were going to read. We all know how that really goes, right? Okay. I had my learning objectives up that I hope my students were going to read. My confidence was on 10. I had done all the things. And I was ready to start my day. So I go into the building and I lied to you now about like 9:15. Someone had thrown up. A kid had gotten into a fight on the bus. The copier jammed and they blamed me. Now, was it me? Yeah, I did. I did jam the copier, but I didn't want everybody to know that. A parent wanted a conference that I didn't plan for. The office called for something else. It was just a lot. It was just a lot. And just like that, my motivation like had went out the window. And I felt like a bad teacher because it's like, oh, I did everything that I was supposed to do and the day's still not going right. And I realized it wasn't that I was a bad teacher. I just didn't align my day. I didn't have real true systems in place and I hadn't created boundaries to survive like the real life of teaching. So you have to make sure that you have systems in place not only for your students but for yourself as well, and I hadn't made that yet. So this is why um aligning your systems or aligning systems is one of the biggest points of my Wayfinder pillars. We start with writing our vision, and immediately after that we go into aligning systems, because if that's not straight, everything else doesn't have the solid foundation that it needs. So I don't teach your systems because I like organized binders. Now I do. I like organized binders with nice little tabs and all the things. But I teach you systems because it protects people. It protects the students. It protects the teachers. In all reality, it protects your marriages, your mental health, your families, your weekends, and ultimately your time. I see somebody else saying, I love colorful, organized binders too. Yeah, but those binders don't always protect your time like they're supposed to. Sometimes it turns into another thing to do. And that's why we got to prioritize what we need as educators, because systems are your true self-care And when you build that, everything else follows and flows like seamlessly. She said, I didn't think about, yes, you don't think about your weekends. Absolutely. That's the point. You got to think about the weekends all week long. Like, what are you doing throughout the week that's going to protect your peace and protect your weekends? So, this isn't magic or rocket science or another Pinterest classroom remake. If that's your thing, I mean, more power to you. If you're the Pinterest teacher with all like the bulletin boards and color coded bins and all the things, if that's your thing, cool. Not saying that there's anything wrong with that, but what I'm saying is there's power in consistency. So we're going to look at this daily structure model, and this is going to be like the meat of our like lesson, I guess, for today. We want to look at the system surrounded around these 5 pieces of your day. You want to have your arrival clearly planned out. Your arrival for yourself and your arrival for your students. One of my problems, I'll say, still is locating where I put my keys and my phone. I don't know what it is. I don't know why it is that way, but every morning I cannot find my keys and my phone. So I am working on right now developing a system for that so that when it's time for me to get out of the door and get into those buildings, I'm not late because I'm looking for it. So having a system for your arrival for yourself is extremely important, but having a system for your students' arrival is equally important. Like, what are you doing in the morning? Are you having a morning meeting? Is that what they do? Do they come in every morning and do morning work or missing work? Or are they supposed to come in and sit quietly and read? Your arrival time should be consistent. Consistency is your key because when students know what to expect, you have less behavior problems because there's no wiggle room in it. So making sure that that's solid is something I want you to consider doing before the school year starts. And then when we move into step 2, it's your activation. And I'm sure if you're an educator on this call, you have heard of the word the hook, right? How are you engaging the learning prior to you starting your core instruction? Whether you realize it or not, I did that with you guys. I activated your mindset first. I talked about why this lesson that we're going to go over, this strategy that we're going to go over is so important. What do you need it for? And that's more important now than like ever because kids are, I don't mean any harm, more curious now than they have ever been, more than we were when we were kids. Sometimes we just was like, oh, yep, okay, you said do it, let's do it. But now they want to know the why. And if you activate that knowledge ahead of time, you're more apt to get the best out of them. So that's super important. What does that look like for you? What does your hook look like? How are you activating their mindset before giving them any real knowledge? Are you checking in with them to see what their day was like before they get to you? Did they eat breakfast? Did they have a nice bus ride to school? All of those things matter. And if you've been through the whole the teacher program, you'll know that the Maslow's hierarchy of needs, those are like the teacher buzzwords. But basically, is what does this kid need before I ever teach them? So making sure you have that activation part like set. Then you're going to look at your instruction. Yes, for some districts, instruction is different. Some of them give you the curriculum, others they don't. But for you, you should know how you're going to attack your instruction every day. No teacher should walk into a classroom not knowing what they're going to teach. I know things change. I know tech goes out. I know all of that. But my goal for you is to walk into your room and feel confident in what you're going to deliver to those kids. Because when you are not confident, trust me, they know. They're like little hound dogs. They can smell fear. So, so it's so important for you to be planned and ready. The next step in this cycle is the practice. Now, and I want to take clear like point on this. It's practice. Everything that students do does not need to be collected. Sometimes it's just like AI said, it's not the game, it's just practice. And so having that time for students to engage in whatever they're learning with low risk, and them knowing that it's okay for them to make mistakes is hugely important because that gives them the opportunity to take in what they're learning and have their own self-worth and mindset about how they're doing. Because if they're invested in it, and that they know it's okay for them to make mistakes, they're more apt to come to you for help and support. So that makes your instruction that much more powerful. So you have to have that practice portion. And then last but not least, your reflection, that is for you. This is where we look at the data that we've collected. We looked at the skill that we're measuring and make strategic instructional decisions based off of what we've done that day. And I know it may sound like a lot to do this every day. For some of you, depending on if you are like your school switch blocks, you have, A days and B days, it might not be every day. You might not get through all those pieces every day, but I want you to think of these as the core components of your lesson. Because if students ask you in the morning or when they come into your classroom, hey, Miss B, what are we doing today? Then you've just discovered an opportunity to improve your systems. So that's the core of what I want you to leave with today, with about like living in this mindset of creating systems that protect your peace. I want you to remember this. The goal isn't productivity because every teacher wants to be productive. I mean, that's just what we do. That's who we are. The goal isn't becoming busier, is becoming a present human being. That's my goal. Being able to put things in place so that you are present for both your students and your family. Because when your systems are improved, you get your evenings back. And that's what I want for you to regain and reclaim your time. You're able to, in that time frame, after you put some systems in place to get your dinner back, your real dinner, not Cheez-It grooves and fruit snacks. Like get that time to spend with your family back. And maybe stop checking your email when your kid's trying to tell you about your day. I know I've done it. So please understand that for me, these moments on our Waypoint Weeklies are more about you. And it's bigger than just organization. It's bigger than just making you the perfect teacher. It's about making you a holistic human being. So that's the goal here. So in that moment, I want to ask you another question because I want you to be honest with yourself, because nobody has it all together. So if I was to ask you this question right now, what would you say? What one system, if you focused on improving it today, would give you more life back? This is like a share moment. What one system, if you focused on it today, would give you more life back? Uh-oh. Don't make me do teacher things, start calling on people. Oh Lord. And it could be something as simple as your routine for doing your laundry or how you cook dinner or how you plan your meals for the week. Oh, yep, I have somebody. What's that?
I would say better time management,
Okay. What does that look like for you?
creating plans and sticking to it, and prioritizing, not being a procrastinator. That's super challenging for me. If I stick to a schedule and, be consistent with it, I feel like I wouldn't be as stressed out.
I thank you for owning that because a lot of people are afraid to say that they're a procrastinator. So I don't know who said it, but like the first step to recovery is recognizing that there's a problem, that type of thing. So I thank you for sharing that with us. And that gives you a sense of accountability because you put it out there, right? And saw someone in the chat say meal planning. I love that. That's something that a lot of us can work on, especially if you're in the education system. We get about what, 15 true minutes to eat our lunch. So having that meal ready to go is probably great. And then Sanaya said I would say her sleep schedule. Better sleep equals a better attitude. Absolutely. I think everyone for sharing, no matter what you said, um, it's valid and it's true to you. So I want you to start there. And if you hadn't shared, I want you to think about things like your morning routine, your dismissal procedures if in the classroom, your parent communication, or your planning. Start there if you didn't really have an answer for us today, because you're going to take one thing and shift the needle, one core system to improve. I want you to focus on that before the beginning of the school year. Here's something that I want to stay with you. The best classroom systems don't just improve instruction, they give educators their life back. If you haven't noticed, that is the overarching theme for today's call, is you getting your life back. You are not just your classroom. You are not just your students. You're more than that. So I want you to let that sink in and really internalize that for today. So if you have not noticed by now, if you've been on a few Wayfinder calls, you've probably noticed I love ships and water. So here we go. Here's my Wayfinder ship moment. A ship doesn't reach another continent because the captain spins the wheel 180 degrees. You never see a captain just take the wheel and just go whoosh and like let that thing spin around. That doesn't happen. The captain assesses what's going on. They look at every angle and they make one intentional small adjustment. That's what I'm asking of you today, for you to make one intentional small adjustment. Because of that one adjustment, you can arrive somewhere completely differently. You can change the dynamic of your day, of your life, basically of who you are. Your classroom doesn't need a revolution. Your life doesn't need a revolution. It just needs 1 degree, one small intentional adjustment. In this moment, I don't want you to leave excited. Excitement is great. I mean, it's good for our conversation. Excitement is great. But I want you leaving different. I want you leaving changed. This week, you're going to choose one system, not 10, not 5, one system, whether it's at home or for you in your classroom, and you're going to master it. Then next week, I'm going to ask you to come back and tell your crew what you changed. So be prepared to share because it's coming. I'm going to ask you to do that. So again, the task is one system, master it, and then come back with us and share it with your crew. That's your Wayfinder challenge. Now, I say this in some fashion every week because I really truly mean it. The smartest educator isn't the one that knows everything or the one who thinks they know everything, because they really don't. It's the one that's not afraid to keep learning. And so I'm so happy that you guys are coming together with the intention of learning and growing and celebrating like your wins with your crew and inviting members to come really truly coach one another. Because I don't want you to think of me as just your coach. We come together as a community to coach one another. And someday, I hope that one of you becomes someone else's Miss May. She's dear to my heart, in case you can't tell. Someone that will look at you when you are doing just a little too much and remind you that your personal lives are worth protecting just as much as your classroom. So before we close out today, I want to take some time for celebrations. Is there anything that you guys want to share that you've made a huge accomplishment over the summer? You have any questions about anything we've taught today? Any needles that need to be shifted? In this moment, is there anybody that wants to share with your crew so we can continue to celebrate you? Okay. Ms. Braxton, you're off mute. Are you sharing or was that an accident?
Accident.
Oh, okay. No problem. Hopefully, if you don't have celebrations now, hopefully as you join us on the calls coming up, going forward, that you get to share or you're confident in sharing the things that you've accomplished each and every day with our community so that we can continue to celebrate you. Because just as we don't want to endure our problems or our stressors alone, we want to make sure that we are coming together for positivity and celebrations as well. So hopefully we can have those moments together going forward. So if you leave this Zoom and learn nothing else, here's your word for the wise. Passion gets you started, but systems help you stay. I want you to think about the fact that what if the goal was never to become the hardest working teacher in your building? What if the goal was becoming the most sustainable one? How much would that change? Not just for you, but in the culture of education as a whole. Our goal is to build educators who still recognize themselves 5, 10, 15 years from now. So until next Wednesday, I want you to keep your compass steady, protect your peace, and remember you don't have to navigate education alone. I thank you guys for joining us. Good night, Wayfinders. If you want to stay on the call, oh, look at that. 6:15, you got 15 free minutes. No after school hours. So if you wanted to stay on the call and just chat, give me your feedback, please do so. I've dropped the school community link in our chat. So you should have seen that as you came in. If you haven't, I can redrop that for you. Please join the community so you can stay abreast of what we're going through, going over. There is a holiday, well, not a holiday, a Educators Harbor Gathering that's happening on July 31st. It's in person here in Hampton. So if you want more information about that, please reach out to me because there's only 40 seats available. So again, it's first come, first on the dock. So let me know if you are looking for that. But until then, everybody go set sail.